Hello, I'm Gil Zilkha. Welcome back to my channel, Essential Classical Music, where we look at the best recordings of the classical music repertoire. This video is taken out of my larger video on best choral recordings. I hope you enjoy it. Now let's talk about one of the iconic pieces of Western music, the Mass in B minor. Now you might say, wait a second, I thought we just did. Well, Bach wrote more than one. This pillar of Western art is actually a work that he put together at the end of his life, kind of stitched from things that he'd written previous decades. It's a traditional Latin Mass, and unlike the St. Matthew Passion, which was telling a story with a narrative, with characters and the soloist telling the story, this is really more of your sort of abstract devotional work. It feels like like a Gothic cathedral. It's just this outpouring of spirituality is the best way I can put it. And really beautiful in that way. And for this one, my top choice is actually a period performance, probably the most celebrated one. John Eliot Gardner with the Monteverdi Choir and English Baroque soloists from 1985. And this recording has that immaculate musicianship, immaculate clarity, beauty of tone, beauty of sound. And I think the approach really works in this piece especially. You're kind of given this very natural, maybe I might say not emotional rendition that allows you to just take in the majesty as well as the solemnity of the work. This is no cold fish, even though it's immaculately performed. There's lots of energy and passion as well as a sort of humility and solemnity in the quieter sections with excellent soloists. Now, if you do want the more big-boned version, then maybe surprisingly, my choice, after what I just said about the St. Matthew Passion, is Otto Klemperer with the BBC chorus and Philharmonia from 1967, a very well-recorded. For me, the Klemperer approach works actually better in this work than in the St. Matthew Passion. I think of the St. Matthew Passion as a little bit more diverse, telling a story, whereas in this work, I think Klemperer's approach of being disciplined really has a majestic effect in this work. That final chorus, the Dona Nobis Pacem, is just beautifully powerful. The chorus sings wonderfully. They have full tone, but they also have clarity. There's a chorus, Cum Sancto Spiritu, which is fairly virtuosic for chorus. It sounds fantastic in the Gardner recording as well. But also in this recording, they sing with fullness of tone, and it's very exciting. Wonderful playing from the Philharmonia, especially the brass. Excellent soloist as well. So for a larger, big-boned performance, I think the Klemperer is an excellent choice for the Mass in B minor. As is this one from 1977, Sir Neville Marriner and the Academy and Chorus of St. Martin in the Fields. They're sort of known as more of a middle ground between the old romantic approach and the period performances, and you get that here. It's not too fast, not too slow, not too heavy, not too light. It kind of feels just right, like what Goldilocks, I guess. But there's a warmth and power to it as well that really works in this piece. Again, that Dona Nobis Pacem at the end is very powerful. Beautiful sound from the St. Martin in the Field Orchestra as well. So this is an excellent choice. Now, going back to period performances, I want to mention this one from 1997. This is Diego Fasoli's and the Swiss Radio Chorus with the Sonatori della Gioiosa Marca. And this is just a gorgeous version, just immaculately sung and played, nice clarity, beautiful solemnity in the softer sections, but also energetic as well. Just very stylish, and another a beautiful period performance that I think this sort of, you might say, no frills approach, like no drama. It really works in this piece, as does this one from 2006. This is with Jas van Velhoven and the Netherlands Bach Society. This one also has wonderful clarity, wonderful sound, a little bit more warmth to the sound. I would say maybe a little bit more of a smooth approach, which is really beautiful. Wonderful clarity as well, and beautiful playing from the instruments. So can't go wrong with this one either. And then finally, among period performances, I want to mention this one from 2009, John Butt and the Dunedin Consort and Players. Now this one's a little different. This one is one voice per part. This was actually something that was pioneered by Joshua Rifkin in the early 80s. And in this recording, there's this wonderful presence and energy that they bring, a little bit more of an intimate experience that kind of brings the music alive. A wonderful rich tone, lushness to the sound, so it never sounds too sparse. But it's really fresh and a great way to hear the work. Now, before I leave the Mass in B minor, I want to go back further in time to some of the more larger romantic recordings, starting with this classic from 1961, Karl Richter and the Munich Bach Orchestra and Chorus. Richter actually served as an organist at the St. Thomas Church. He was steeped in the tradition, and he uses boy sopranos, which was the tradition in Bach's time. And I think that adds an element of solemnity and reverence to this, especially to this particular work that really works. It still does have energy in the faster sections, wonderful articulation. The choir sings really well. They're very well drilled. And I think for this work, it works in bringing across that kind of spiritual majesty, you might say. Very well recorded as well. And then, going back to 1959, we have this version. Hermann Scherchen and the Vienna Academy Chamber Choir and the Vienna State Opera Orchestra. Now, I want to say something about this one. I talked about Klemperer as being the romantic tradition. The irony of that is, we think of him that way because of the large modern instruments and the slower tempos. But Klemperer was very disciplined in the way he paced things. He actually did not see himself as a romantic. For a real truer romantic interpretation, I think this one has a flexibility to it. It's a little bit more of a soft-grained approach. Very good sound for its time. Incidentally, this is the Tara version. You can also get it on MCA. Tara is actually a remastering recording label that has done a lot of historical recordings very well. A lot of the Fort Wengler recordings I've recommended have been Tara, and actually was founded by Scherchen's daughter, Miriam. You can also find his Art of Fugue orchestration on the Tara label. But in this recording, there's a little bit more elasticity, you might say. It's beautifully poignant. For example, the slow Crucifixus is for me. Some people will say it's overly romantic, and I understand that. But for me, it's very touching. As well as energetic in the faster sections. The one thing I would say, the soloists are very good. The bass soloist kind of scoops a bit, but beyond that, it's a good sounding recording, and it's a lovely approach that might even for some be sort of a gateway if you found the Mass in B minor to be a little bit too maybe austere and monumental. Maybe kind of humanizes it in a way. And then finally, another romantic tradition performance is this one, live from 1950, Herbert von Karajan with the Vienna Singverein and Vienna Symphony. And when you get to track 2 and you hear a duet with Elizabeth Schwarzkopf and Kathleen Ferrier, at least for me, your ears will perk up a bit. It's a grand, romantic, powerful performance. It's a little bit muddy, both in the sound and in the choral sections. The faster, articulated, like the Cum Sancto Spiritu, for example. It doesn't have the best articulation maybe in the world, but the reason to listen to this one is just that feeling of majesty and grandeur. Karajan paces everything beautifully. The final Dona Nobis Pacem is so just powerful. Just what a way to end the work. And before that, you have the Agnus Dei alto solo with Kathleen Ferrier, which is just poignantly done, beautifully accompanied by Karajan. The sound is not the best. And a little detail, it is missing the first minute of the opening Kyrie. So actually, I will tell you something I did a couple of decades ago when I first got this recording. I actually spliced in the Georges Enescu recording, the first minute of that one, and it actually worked. It sounded pretty seamless. So a little splicing trick you can try on your own. But in any case, I did want to include this one as a great example of the more romantic tradition for this work. Thanks for watching. I wish you all a great day and happy listening.